Good day, children. I'm happy to meet you in another session with the continuity of the poem Two's Company. Appreciation of English literary texts, GZ Ordinary Level, Term 3, Poetry, Two's Company. This session is organized by the Provincial Department of Education, Northern Province, under LMDM unit. Earlier, we had an outline of the poem Two's Company. Now, let's see it in detail.
Now, let's see the analysis of this poetry stanza by stanza. We have already read the poem completely. Now, we'll break it into portions and let's see what we can find in those portions. Two's Company by Raymond Wilson. The sad story of a man who didn't believe in ghosts. They said the house was haunted, but he laughed at them and said, "Tut tut, I never heard such tittle tattle. A ghost that groan and chains that rattle. And just to prove I am in the right, please leave me here to spend the night." Yes, see the title? Two's Company. Now you know who those two are. Who are those? One is our hero who is mentioned as he in this poem. He is one, and the other one, who is the other one? You definitely know he is behind the slide. You can see his presence. It is definitely the ghost. So the title is somewhat peculiar to his company. Normally, when we love to be in company, as we are human beings, we love company, right? Some company may give us happiness. We enjoy the company of somebody else, and some company may be irritating and annoying, but this company is totally different. It is a company of a man and a ghost. Man, you know, he is a mortal being. He is a living creature. But ghost, it is surreal. It is not real, right? Okay, let's see. So the title is somewhat humorous. Look at the opening line, introductory line. The sad story of a man who didn't believe in ghosts. So the story, the poem is going to be a sad story, but it seems somewhat contradictory. I have already told you this poem falls under humor. Then how can it be sad? Sad means which gives us pain, which hurts us, and if it is a sad story of somebody else, we sympathize or even sometimes we empathize with the person. Now here, what are we going to see? Let's go on. The introductory line seems to be a warning, right? It is definitely going to be a warning to whom? It is going to be a warning to the man, story of a man. Which man? Who didn't believe in ghosts. So the poet is telling it is going to be a disastrous story of a man who has no belief in ghosts, who says that there is no ghost in the earth. So he has to encounter something very negative, pessimistic at the end. It is a kind of warning. Now let's see. They said the house was haunted. So they are the people who believe in ghosts, who trust the existence of ghosts in the world, in this world, right? They said the house was haunted, but he laughed at them. So what is he doing? He laughed at them, he mocked at them, he ridiculed them, right? Why? Because of their trust in ghosts. So, and at them and said, "Tut tut, I never heard such tittle tattle. I don't trust in all these gossips, absurd, unwanted talks. So who are these they and he? He must be a young man, a teenager, and they must be his circle of friends, right? Teenagers, they are very specific about these tittle tattles, and they are adventurous. They love horror movies, and they trust in paranormal forces and powers. So this group, they must be the friends of this young boy, he. They and he. Here we can see the central character. Who is the central character? He is the central character of this poem. He is the hero of this poem. He seems to have no trust or faith in ghosts because he is laughing at the people who say the house is haunted, and he says it is a tittle tattle, so he doesn't have any faith in ghosts. He seems to be overconfident and mocks at his friends who believe in ghosts. Yes, he is overconfident. When we read the whole poem, we come to know this. He is overconfident and he has a nature of boastfulness. He boasts. He says that he wants to portray himself as a hero, so that he has overconfidence. We can see him, find him to be overconfident, and he laughed at the people. So he is mocking at the people who have trust in ghosts, right? He wants to prove that the existence of these paranormal forces are misconceptions. He wants to prove that they are foolish. He wants to prove these people they are foolish. They have trust in these paranormal forces. They are misconceptions. So he wants to prove that, so that he is ready to accept the challenge, and he is ready to go to any extreme to prove that he is right. For that, what is he going to do? He asks the people they to leave him alone in that haunted house throughout the night, so that he can prove there is no ghost in the world. Okay, so he is very courageous. From this we come to know he is very courageous, bold, and he accepts a scary challenge, and he definitely wants to prove that he is very adventurous and ready to go to any extreme to prove that he is right. Okay, right. Now you can see two couplets, the following couplets. They left him just dusk was falling with a hunchback moon and screech owls calling. Yes, look, imagine this kind of time. Dusk was falling, that means it was getting dark. The light is disappearing gradually and darkness is overwhelming the earth. With a hunchback moon, with the appearance of moon, it is not a full moon. It is a hunchback, concave shape of a moon. It is a crescent moon. Because of this crescent shape of the moon, there is more darkness. There is no light. There is more darkness. And in that darkness, screech owls calling. Owls are normally, they are the signs of bad omens and evil spirits. Owls, normally the appearance of the owl is very scary, as well as their hooting sound. So darkness is there, hunchback moon is there, moreover the owls are calling, they are hooting. So imagine that situation. But what's that? Outside it seemed as if chains rattled and someone screamed. When the boy is there in that house alone, some peculiar scary sounds are heard, like chains rattle and the screaming sound of others. Right? Let's see. The behavior of others, they show that they know something about something that the challenger does not know. They are quite happy that he is going to learn a lesson. So they left him. As he challenged these people, his friends, a circle of young boys or girls, youngsters, they left him because they don't want to give company to him. Nobody is ready because they must have known something. There is something wrong in that house, and they are quite happy. This bold guy is going to learn a lesson. They are going to teach him a lesson because he says he is the person who argues and says and challenges them by telling that there is no ghost, right? The creepy environment foreshadows the imminent horror that he is about to encounter. The creepy environment, the sounds and the visual imagery, if we can visualize these things, dusk falling, hunchback moon, and we can hear these sounds as owls calling and chains rattling and screaming. These creepy environment, these things make the environment more eerie, right? And it foreshadows, it tells you what he is going to face. He is at the border of imminent danger. He is going to encounter danger very soon. So these sounds, visual and auditory imagery tell us that he is going to face his imminent danger very soon, and he is going to be a victim. Let's see. Now let's get ready to experience something sad or fear. From the opening line, we come to know that it is going to be a sad story. So, are you ready to experience something sad or fearsome? Anyhow, on the other hand, the hero is happy that he has a sacred mission to fight against the superstition. Superstition, those are the beliefs, believing in, trusting in gods, ghosts, bad omens, they are superstitions, right? So he is happy. He can become a hero among his gang by proving that there is no ghost, and he is ready to face the challenges. Okay, I have divided the last stanza into two parts. Here, come, it's merely nerves, he's certain. But just the same, he draws the curtain. A stroke of 12, but there is no clock. He shuts the door, turns the lock. Of course, he knows that no one's there. But no harm's done by taking care. Someone's outside, the silly joker. He may as well pick up the poker. Right here. When we see this person, he seems to be he is not confident. Now he has lost his confidence, right? Come, it's merely nerves, he is certain. So the scary environment has created fear in his mind. So he is telling it's merely nerves. These are my nerves. They are making me shiver, right? They are making me scared of this ghost. He's certain. But though he wants to prove something scientifically, biologically by blaming the nerves, but deep in his mind there is fear. For that, what is he doing? He draws the curtain. He closes all the window by drawing the curtain, right? Normally, in haunted houses, there are big curtains, and you may experience that, right? Furthermore, the stroke of 12, it is definitely the midnight, and ghosts and evil powers that become active during this time, the stroke of 12. But the peculiar thing is there is no clock. So that what is he doing? Because of his fear, he shuts the doors and turns the lock. So he is closing the door very tightly by locking it. He wants to save himself from the ghost. So from here, we know that he is scared about this ghost concept. Earlier he was challenging as a bold guy, and now he is shivering of fear, and he is taking some precautious measures to protect him from these scary ghosts. Of course, he knows that no one's there, but no harm's done by taking care. He knows no one is there, no one is in the house, but all these sounds, he can experience all these sounds. But he is telling to himself, but no harm done by taking care. He is trying to console. No, there is no problem. If I take some measure to protect myself, it is not a problem. So I'll do that. Someone's outside the silly joker. So he says, he thinks there must be someone outside the house. He may as well pick up the poker. I have already shown you the picture of poker. It is a metal rod with a handle. Now, what is the purpose of taking this poker? Yes, normally when do we take a stick or something like that to hit? If anybody comes to hurt us or harm us, we can use the stick or rod to protect ourselves, right? So he is picking a poker as well. Now let's see, our hero behaves in a totally contradictory way to his boastful nature. Earlier he was boasting and he wants to prove, and he was ready to face the challenges, and he wants to encounter, he wants to be adventurous. But now everything seems to be topsy-turvy, upside down. He wants to, now he behaves in a totally different manner. He is scared. He wants to take measures for his safety. He tries to console himself by blaming his nervous system for causing fear. So there is nothing. I'm psychologically affected, so that I'm overwhelmed with fear, he says. His precautious actions show us that he is really scared. What are his precautious actions? Yes, one is taking a poker, drawing the curtain, shutting the door and locking it. These are his precautious actions that really show us that he is definitely scared. Right. The latter part of the last stanza, the noise again. He checks the doors. He checks by pulling and pushing the door whether it is locked properly, shutters the windows, and makes a pause to seek the safest place to hide. Now he is quite sure about the presence and existence of ghosts, so that he is trying to find a safest place to hide. He wants the best place which can give protection against ghosts. The cupboard strong. He creeps inside. He silently moves very slowly inside the cupboard. Not that's there. When he is in the cupboard, he says, "Not that, sir. Not that there's anything to fear. Okay, I'm now in a safest place. So I'm not going to bother or worry about anything, because it is the safest place. It gives me protection against ghosts. It is very compact and safe." He tells himself, when at his ear a voice breathes softly. While he is in the cupboard, while he is trying to console himself, while he is trying to build strength within himself, he hears a soft voice. That voice says, "How do you do?" It's greeting. The voice is greeting the person, and it is introducing itself. What is that? "I'm the ghost. Pray, who are you?" I'm the ghost. The thing is introducing in a very soft manner. "I'm the ghost. Pray, who are you and who are you?" It wants the boy to introduce himself to it. So how scary it is. He thinks so, it is totally contradictory, because he thought that the cupboard is the best place, but it is the place where ghost also lives. And the ghost, if it is a ghost, we expect something scary, something horrible, dreadful. But here we can see a totally different ghost. It is very soft, and it is greeting in a polite manner, and it wants the person to introduce himself. It wants to give him a company. So who are these two? Who are these? Which company is that? Who are in that company? One, the boy, and the ghost. So isn't it funny? Let's see. As his anxiety and fear gradually rise, he takes some safety measures to protect himself from the ghosts. We have seen, what did he do? He shutters the windows, makes a pause, looks for a safety place. He finds a cupboard there and thinks it is the safest place to hide. But to his great shock, the ghost from which he tries to escape also dwells in that cupboard. It speaks in a very soft voice and introduces itself. Yes. So is it a sad story? Do you agree? According to the opening line, is it a sad story? Are you about to cry? Do you feel sympathetic towards anyone? Yes, it is a kind of sad story, but it doesn't make us to cry. Instead, we laugh at the sad plight of this boy. We laugh at him because of his boastful nature, and because of his overestimation, and because of his overconfidence. He is laughed at by the society. Now think, how can he face his group of friends? Does he have the guts to face the friends? What will he say? Will he be okay in the morning? Can you imagine? Okay, now let's move on to the main focus of this poem, the theme. Here, what is the poet doing? The poet is laughing at a certain human weaknesses through humor. Through humor, he is laughing, he is ridiculing, he is mocking at certain human weaknesses. What are the human weaknesses that are portrayed? He laughs at the quality of boastfulness. Boastfulness, telling something great about themselves, and telling that we have this and that and that, and I can do this, something like that. Boastfulness, boastful nature, telling something, exaggerating something, that is the boastful nature. Or overestimation. We as youngsters, you have this weakness, overestimation. We can do that without learning, without studying. I can sit for the exam and get 9s. That is overestimation or overconfidence. That may lead us to disastrous consequences. So be careful about this thing, overestimation or overconfidence. So here the poet is laughing at these human weaknesses. Though it is a humorous poem, he teaches you a lesson. He tells you something. In all your humorous poems, in your anthology like Huntsman, though it is a humorous poem, though you laughed at the behavior of Huntsman, it teaches you a message. It tells you, don't talk unnecessarily. Over talking may be disastrous. Here in Camel's Hum, another humorous poem, it tells you, don't be lazy. It also teaches you a lesson, even upside down. It asks you to comply with the social norms. And here also the poet wants you to be, not to be boastful or overconfident. It teaches you a great lesson through this poem. And let's go on to the literary techniques. First one, form and structure of the poem. If you see the poem, it has 5 stanzas including the introductory line. One line, then there are several stanzas. It has 5 stanzas. The introductory line can be also taken as a stanza. And the opening line is a kind of warning that makes us to anticipate something pessimistic, because it tells, do you remember the line? A sad story of a man who did not believe in ghosts, right? Is it a sad story? Did you cry at the end of the poem? No, instead of that, you were laughing at the end. So, but the opening line distracts you and it puts you in a wrong path to anticipate something pessimistic, something very painful, and something with disparity. But here there is only humor. We laughed at. We did not cry for the person. We did not feel sorry for the person. Right? So it is misleading us to anticipate something pessimistic. That is the structure of the poem. And it consists a plot like a story. This poem consists a plot like a story. How did the people tell about the existence of ghosts, and how did he challenge those people who said that there was ghost in that house, and what did they do, and how did he experience, and finally what happened. It is just like a story. It is plotted in the form of a story. That is the structure of the poem. Next, diction. What is diction? It is the choice of words. Think about the words in the poetry. Are they hard? Did you come across any hard vocabulary there? No, it is very simple, and it is in the conversational language, like people talk. It is in the conversational language. And narrative, it is in the third person narrative. By telling he and they, we conclude that it is in the third person narration. And quicken movement, because of rhyming couplets. All the lines in the poetry, they end with rhyming couplets. We can see that later on. And end stopped lines. The lines are shortcut with rhyming couplets. So it helps us to boost humor. It helps us in creating humor a lot, the fast movement of the words. Next one is personification, giving human quality to some lifeless things are called as personification. Hunchback moon. Normally people are with hunchback. I have already told you, a hump in the back. Here, who has a hunchback? Moon. So moon is personified. Screech owls calling. Calling is a human action. It is given to owls. Screech owls calling. Ghost is also personified, like breathes softly and greeting and doing self-introduction. These are the human actions that are attributed to ghost. So here ghost is also personified. And it is full of visual and auditory imagery. Let's see. Visual imagery, hunchback moon. You can visualize that in your mind. You can see a moon, owl, joker, poker, man in a cupboard, and ghost. They can be visualized. And auditory imagery is also there. Screech auditory imagery means the sounds that we can imagine or that we can hear when we read the poem in our imagination, that is auditory imagery. Screech owls calling, chains that rattle, someone screamed, the stroke of 12, breathes softly. These are the auditory imagery that this poem has. Onomatopoeia. What is onomatopoeia? It is also a formation of word that is created by the sound of the object, that the sound made by the object. Likewise, for example, cuckoo is a bird, right? You know, it is a bird that sounds cuckoo, so that the bird is called as cuckoo. That is onomatopoeia. Here, tut tut, tittle tattle, gossips, and rattled, the rattling sound of the chain. So these can come under the poetic technique onomatopoeia. Irony is a very prominent technique here. The title Two's Company is ironic. Normally when it comes to company, we expect some people, a group of people or even a pair of people, right? But here it is totally different. The company here is between two. One is a mortal man, a living creature, a tangible person, but the other one is a surreal creature. It is the ghost, which is not real, which that is ironic. The company title Two's Company is totally ironic. And the introductory line is also an irony. It tells that we are going to anticipate a sad story, but at the end it makes us to laugh. The entire poem makes us to laugh. We could not stop laughing at the end of the poem because the boastful person who was telling that there was no ghost had to encounter with a ghost. So the introductory line is an irony. We did not have any pathetic situation at the end, painful situation at the end. And ghost is also presented in an ironical way. It is an irony. When it is a ghost, it is very scary, it is very dreadful, and it is creepy and eerie. We have seen all sorts of words related to ghosts. We are scared of it. But at the end, we can see that the ghost is very friendly, and it is trying to interact with the man in a very soft and smooth manner. It is decently introducing itself and asking the man to introduce himself. So here our ghost is very funny, not scary. So it is also an irony. And rhyme, we can see all the lines in the poem end with rhyming couplets. Two sets of rhyming words are there in the end of the lines, like but tut, tittle tattle, tittle rattle, right night, falling calling, seemed screamed, certain curtain, clock lock, joker poker, doze pause, fear ear. So when we go through the poem, we can find the lines end with rhyming couplets. So rhyme scheme is also another technique. And you know, this entire poem produces with a dramatic and cinematic effect. The mental agitation of the central character is conveyed through his action. Earlier he seemed to be a very strong person, but finally when he was left alone in the haunted house, he was filled with mental agitation. He was disturbed and he took several precautionary measures. So that actions provide us the dramatic and cinematic effect to the poetry. Come, come, let's merely nurse. He draws the curtain, he shuts the door and turns the lock, but no harm's done by taking care. He may as well pick up the poker. So imagine, okay, we can imagine all these things that are done by this person, and it produce the poem with dramatic and cinematic effect. Now, do you agree that the entire poem entertains you with humor? Here, humor is presented through the central figure who was a bold person. Finally, he was filled with agitation. He was scared about the ghost. He produces humor. The title produces humor. Unnatural company, unusual company, not unnatural, unusual company produces humor. The opening line that tells the man is going to be it tells about the plight of the boastful man. It also provides us with humor. And the language used, rhyming couplets and instruct lines, that also help us to language also helps us to produce humor in this poem. Now it's time for your question. I have given you one A part question and one B part question, right? Let's see the answers for this question from A part. They left him just as dusk was falling, with a hunchbacked moon and screech owls calling. Where are these lines taken from? Who is the author? Do you know the answer? Exactly. These lines are from the poem Two's Company by Raymond Wilson. Who are referred to as they and him? Here they are a circle of friends or a group of young boys. And who is that him? Him must be a young age boy or a man who boasts about the existence of his courage, and he refuses to believe in ghosts. Where and why was he left by them? Where he was left by them in a haunted house. Why? Because he wants to prove the stories about ghosts are fake. They are wrong. He wants to prove the existence of ghosts is wrong. What kind of effect is created by these lines? What kind of effect? A scary, a ghastly atmosphere is presented. Yes, because of the visual and the auditory imagery, the effect created by these lines are very scary. So these are the answer for A part question. And B part question, while creating humor, the poet Raymond Wilson gives a warning to the people with certain human weaknesses in his poem Two's Company. Discuss. Is he creating humor? Do you agree the poet creates humor through his poem? Yes, we have already seen what elements of this poetry create humor. And does he give you a warning? Yes. To whom was this warning? Is this warning given? To the people with some human weaknesses. What are the weaknesses? Boastful nature, overconfidence, and overestimation. These are the weaknesses. Here the poet is highly critical about such human weaknesses, and he wants to warn, if you have such qualities, you will be defeated at the end. You will be mocked at. For this, you will be humiliated. You will be ridiculed by the others. Think of the day. How can he face his friend the next day? How is the next day of this person going to be? Will he be successful? Will he be okay? Can he face his friends whom he challenged? No, he is going to be a failure. So, these human weaknesses are highly criticized by the poet Raymond Wilson. Thank you.
This is the end of this lesson. I hope you got a clear understanding about this poetry Two's Company. Please take your time to write answers for this question, and I'm sure it will definitely help you to score more marks.